Hi guys, Mark Dawes again, and in this video I wanted to talk to you a little bit about behaviour. If you remember that hierarchy of needs that I showed you in the last video, the values elicitation video, where Robert Dilts had produced the hierarchy of needs, we had environment at the bottom, we had behaviours above that, and then competencies, and then beliefs and values, identity and purpose, moving up and down the actual hierarchy. And we identified that your beliefs and your values, what you believe to be true and what you value in your life, basically control everything up and down that hierarchy. It affects your behaviour, it will in turn produce your competencies, and then you'll start to identify with those as well in terms of your identity and maybe your purpose in life. And the reason a lot of people struggle in life is they lose their purpose, which was why that values elicitation exercise is a really, really important exercise to do. And if you haven't done it as yet, go to the link below this video and do that exercise. Honest to God, you'll be absolutely impressed with the results that you find, and in fact you'll be really surprised by what you'll find out about yourself just by doing that exercise. And again, the videos that explain that are all self-explanatory. But I wanted to talk to you today about communication. Now, a lot of you watching this will be trainers, or you'll be professional people, and you'll be communicating all the time, and some of you will be delivering or will go on communication skills courses, and they'll talk about things like sender, receiver, encoding and decoding, the usual 1950s RT communication type package that they've installed into teaching us how human beings communicate. Well, I'm sorry to bust anyone's bubble here, but that sender-receiver model is so basic. It was written for the military in the 1950s, and it doesn't really reflect how human beings communicate. Now, many of you know that there was research done into this many years ago, and 7% of our communication is the spoken word, 38% is the tonality of our voice, but 55% of the way we communicate is our body language, our facial expression, our muscular tone, our breathing rate, etc., etc., etc. So there's much more to this, and it's, it's, in NLP terms, we're going to talk about this in terms of congruency, because if you are congruent in what you say, how you say it, and the way you present it physically, then you're going to get more response to your communication. And if you're using communication to build rapport with people, then that's a really, really important skill. Now, a lot of you out there in business will have websites, and you'll pay copywriters a lot of money to produce copy for your website with headings and text and sort of keywords and SEO stuff, whatever that they do with that sort of dark art to make your website stand out. But a key thing is that whatever is in that content, the message must be congruent. But if you think about it, in 100% of communication, spoken words are only 7%. It's the smallest part of communication. And have you ever been in a situation where someone has said something to you and you heard what they say, but you didn't like the way they said it? Well, that's probably because what they said, what they communicated, and what they presented to you in terms of the tonality of their voice and their physical posture was incongruent with what they were saying. For example, you might be in a relationship, you might be tired one night, and your partner might come in and say, "Hey, do you know what? I really love you." You go, yeah, I love you too. Well, you're not going to believe that stuff. I bumped into someone the other day, walking out in the street, down in the local town, and I said, "You looking forward to Christmas?" And he went, "Yeah. It should be okay." Man, he's not looking forward to it at all. But can you imagine for a moment, and this is where I want to get the importance over to you, if you are one of those people whose future may be a bit uncertain and you've got to start applying for jobs and you've got to start presenting yourself out there, of course you're going to be worried, but that cannot come out in your communication, because if you go into an interview and you're a bit, I really think I can do the job and you should employ me, you're not on a good footing. Now, I'm going to provide a link below this video to another video of Amy Cuddy, who talks about the impact of faking your body language on the chemical and biological makeup of your body, and the research done at Harvard on how people would interview people purely on their body mechanics and on their body posture, and how you can actually do that for less than 2 minutes a day. So there's a link below this video where you can actually go and do this stuff. Now let's go back to Robert Dilts' hierarchy of needs. In that hierarchy of needs, we have environment and we have behaviour above it. Now, lots of people tell me that they can't change their environment. They're stuck in a job they hate. They're in a situation that they can't change because they don't have the money. And therefore, the environment at this moment in time is something they cannot escape. Well, if you can't change your environment, you have to change your behaviour. That is something you've got total control of. So you've got 7% words, 38% tonality, 55% body posture. All of the great people out there who are actually successful in every walk of life, not just financial, but in relationships and spiritual ways, can all do this stuff, and they spend time learning how to do it. And let me show you the NLP model that this works around. Now, if you want to produce good behaviour, if you want that to be absolutely 100% good, then this is affected, as we all know, by your state, which you can also call your mood. Your state or your mood will affect your behaviour, and your behaviour can affect your state. So the question is, how do we control our state? Well, there's two ways you can do this. One is by controlling your physiology, which is a posh word for your body, your physical state. Now, you've done this. If any of you out there go down the gym, you'll know about this. You'll have finished work, you'll have come home, your state, your mood, if you like, you may be tired. And you'll make the effort and you'll drag your sorry self down to the gym, you'll put your gym gear on, you get out there and you'll start working out, and your physiology changes. You start to go from a tired physiology into a more empowered physiology. And when you do that, your mood changes and your output changes. You've also had this experience where someone comes around that you're not expecting. Sorry about this, Christmas is coming. Knock on the door. Yeah, who's that? And you walk towards the door, talking to yourself, not wishing to see anyone. And then you open the door and someone stood there and they're a little bit upset or whatever. And they say, look, I really need your help. And you lie to yourself. You say, yeah, come in. Great to see you. You sit down, you have coffee with them, glass of wine, can of beer, whatever, have a bite to eat. You help them. You change your state to help them. And when they leave, you actually feel better about that. So that's one way you can do this. And in the new year, we're going to start running courses on this, because it will not only help you in actually communicating with yourself better, it will also help you in your business and in your training. And this is something that we use not just on NLP courses, but we integrate on all of our courses where we're training trainers in lots of different areas, like self-defense and restraint, for example. The other way you can affect your state is by using your psychology. In other words, the way you think and the way you actually use your mind. Now, interestingly, your psychology affects your physiology, and your physiology affects your psychology. They're in a closed loop. So how can you start affecting your psychology? Well, think about this. You use on average between 48,000 to 60,000 words a day. 48,000 to 60,000 words a day. Now, just imagine for a moment if I turned up at your house, knocked on your door, you opened the door, and the first thing I said to you was, you're useless, you're worthless, you're never going to amount to anything, you're never going to be anyone, you're wasting your time, you're a piece of this, you're a piece of that, and I walked off. Well, probably fair to say you'd be pretty angry, as you would expect. But what if I came back and did it again that day? And I came back a third time, or maybe a fourth time. So in one day, 4 times I've said those things to you. You'd be pretty angry. And if I did that throughout the week, by the end of the week, you might be even a little bit depressed. But the worst part is you might start internalizing that and thinking, well, why does he hate me? Am I like that? Some people have been running those dialogues for years, and then they wonder why they feel the way they are. 48,000, 60,000 words a day. Here's a tip for you. Change the way you talk to yourself. I know people, because they come and see me professionally, they get out of bed in the morning, they put their feet on the floor, they look out the window and they go, another shit day in paradise. If you feel like that when you're starting off at the beginning of your day, then you are not going to be in a good state, because your psychology is going to affect your state and it's going to affect your physiology. By the way, this is no disrespect to people who are depressed out there, but if you want to become depressed, you need to work on that state. You need to work hard to actually achieve a depressed state so you can access a state of depression without knowing why. And you achieve a depressed state by changing your psychology and by changing your physiology. And if you don't believe me, try this exercise. Sit in a chair right now, pretend you're depressed, sit there as though you're depressed, talk as though you're depressed, start to breathe as though you're depressed, and you'll find within a very short period of time you won't feel very good. So don't do it for too long. But if you want to change that, instantaneously get up out of that chair, stretch your body out, start changing your voice tempo, start changing the way you project, start changing the way you stand, and you will find that your state, your mood will change. And by the way, the change in that mood will produce a different change in behavior. So if the new year may be uncertain for you because you don't know what your job's going to bring, you don't know whether you're going to have a job, you don't know whether you graduate university, what you're going to do with your life, and you need to start communicating with people because you want them to employ you, then make sure that you control your state. You might not have control of the environment, but you certainly can control your state. This is a basic NLP tool. We're going to be going full guns on this in the new year. We're going to be running this on courses. For those of you that are coming to train with us, you're going to learn more about this stuff. Even on a restraint trainer's course and a self-defense instructor's course, you're going to learn about this, because if you want to teach someone and you want them to actually get it, you want them to believe you, you want them to trust you, then your words, your tonality and your physical posture must be congruent. So there's no point wasting time learning tips on how to actually get people to actually buy your product and then delivering a poor show. And like I said, below this video is a link to Amy Cuddy. She spoke at a TED conference in California recently, and she's going to show you the power of a positive body posture. But in a minute, I'm just going to clean the board and come back. I'm going to show you some results that are obtained using just this.